So the book I read was Santiago's Road Home by Alexandria Diaz. And the story is told in third person omniscient tone, so you can hear the private thoughts of the character Santiago through the entire story. The book begins in a Mexican city, the border between Mexico and America, and the story begins, and after a few days, Santiago was living with his aunt and uncle and gets kicked out, and Santiago is homeless for a few days, and then Santiago meets a nice woman and her daughter Maria Dolores and Alegria. He met them on their way to find a coyote, which is a smuggler, to try and smuggle them across the border. And after talking for a while, they agree to take Santiago with them. But they run into trouble with their coyote, Dominguez, who is killed in a car accident caused by another group of smugglers who are not a fan of his unconventional strategy used to take refugees across the border. Maria Dolores, Alegria, and Santiago attempted to cross the border into America on their own, but after days of travel, they pass out from heat exhaustion and are detained by ICE. Santiago has to live in a child detainment center and waits most of the story to find out what is to come of his life and if he would be accepted as a refugee seeking asylum. And the author uses the struggle of Santiago to show the dangers and difficulties involved with Mexicans trying to cross the United States border. Santiago being separated from Maria Dolores and her daughter Alegria makes the reader feel remorse for Santiago and other immigrants who are separated from people they love when trying to cross the border. Additionally, the author shows through characters in the detainment center that some people who try to enter the country illegally are also detained by ICE. So even though they try to enter illegally, even some people who try to enter illegally have to go through the same problems. A major theme of the book is that people have to fight to get what they want, and there will be setbacks, but you can't let the setbacks defeat you. This theme extends beyond the examples in the text, but can be attributed to anyone's life. Like if you want to become good at a sport, you have to consistently train for it, and you cannot expect to be good at it and be winning right away. You have to keep trying even though there will be setbacks. Another theme is that it's important to learn to trust people and allow yourself to grow relationships with people. Life without friends can get lonely, and everyone is supposed to have someone in their lives and that they can count on. It's important to be able to have someone to call on if you're ever in need. The author's father was a true Spanish-speaking immigrant, which without this personal connection, it would be difficult for the author to create a story that feels so real, based only on ideas that they have, not based on actually having someone in their life who went through it. And having a dad who went through the same struggles as the character in the story allowed her to give the reader a real idea of what these people are going through to try and live in America. The story takes place in a modern time period, so the reader gets a real idea of how border issues are handled in today's age. And the story would be very different if it were set somewhere else. America comparatively has some of the more difficult border policies compared to other countries, and it is difficult to be accepted as a refugee here. So if it took place in a country like Germany or Canada, it would be much easier for the people to immigrate to that country, and the story would not have the same impact as it does when they're trying to cross into America. The story would also be a lot different if the coyote didn't die in the beginning of the story. Santiago's journey to America would still probably not be easy, but it would be much easier if their smuggler was able to successfully deliver them across the border. Instead, they had to walk all the way and got detained by ICE, which definitely was a huge setback for them. And overall, I thought it was a very good book, and it enlightens you on the difficulties immigrants face trying to get into America. I would recommend this to people who have not really been exposed to real world problems yet, because it can just show them how bad, or how well they have it compared to some other people, and to not take what they have for granted.